Good morning. Welcome back to Mainville ATV and Outdoors, where we do all things all-terrain. Today is a little bit different, a little less terrain, a little more power washing. Last video you guys saw us set this up. This is my in-garage power washing setup. We didn't have any of the chemicals last time to kind of finish the job, so I pulled out the Renegade. The bulk of the job has been done already where we got all the mud off, but now it's kind of cleaning everything else up. We have some of the chemicals to do that now, which was sent out by Royal Distributing, one of our channel sponsors. They sent out some muck-off products, some that I've tried before, some that I haven't. I'm really excited to get that into the new foam cannon, so we're going to see how that performs today. We have a bunch of new tools, a bunch of new things to discuss. This will be a good chance to kind of dial in the setup, figure out what I like, what I don't like, and give you guys a chance to tell me what I'm doing wrong. So it's perfect. So what we're going to do is get this reeled out and start washing that Renegade. Good to go. You ever just have one of those days where you film things 100 times? Today's one of those days. So what you're going to see behind me is the system that we set up in the last video. If you haven't seen that, make sure to go check it out. We use a combination of garage living slat wall systems slash some stuff that I bought online slash some Royal Distributing product, and a whole whack of things basically culminated together to make this. This is my idea of making things easier, so I like doing them more. You know what I mean? So anyway, go check that video out if you're more interested in kind of some of the details of this stuff and how I made it happen. But today we're going to focus on some of the additions. We're going to try out some new tools. We're going to wash up the machines. We're going to try some stuff. Pretty exciting. So first thing, this is what we were waiting for last time. You're going to see, this is some of the cleaner that I've used in the past. This is pretty good stuff. Is there better stuff? I don't know. This is what you guys can help me out with. I like the muck off stuff, does a pretty good job. The snow foam is something I've also tried in the past, and I didn't really have a good foam cannon at the time, so it really sucked. But I know that this stuff's pretty concentrated and really strong, so I'm really excited to see it with that Griot's snow foam cannon. I think that's going to make the big difference with that. We're going to try this out today. So this is from Royal Distributing, so big thanks to them. They sent out a bunch of stuff, but this is what's relevant today. Today's video. I'm trying to keep some things separate from the ATV UTV side, because there's a big difference between washing that and washing a truck or a car. So you're going to see some of those tools and how they work. We're going to pull out the mud bucket, is what I'm going to call it. This is kind of like the ATV and tire bucket. So inside we're going to find a bunch of tools that we're trying today. I've got like a cool tire brush, which is sweet, so we can agitate some stuff. Here's another, what I'm going to call a tire brush, but this one's for like getting in the spokes and stuff like that, that's tight. This is stuff that I'm famous for not getting to, but this will make the job easier, and that's the point. We also have a dedicated mitt that I will not mix with my other mitt for cars, trucks. I have a preloaded press-all bottle. These are pretty cool. This one's actually filled with that muck-off soap up there. That makes a 4-to-1 in 1 liter. So I conveniently bought these bottles in 1 liter, which makes the math very easy when you're trying to sort this out. For you freedom types, I don't know what any of that means and all the different crazy numbers that you guys have. But in the 1,000 milliliters, I put 250 milliliters of that, making a 4-to-1 bottle. And that's easy math. So I like easy, I like making things easy, and that's the point of today. So we're going to wheel this out, we're going to get this dialed in, hook all of this up, reel it out, and get started. We're going to get to washing the Renegade. Like I said, the Renegade, I already took the bulk of the mud off, so now it's just a matter of kind of dialing in a few things and testing out some products more so than anything. Then that Renegade is going in for some upgrades here in the shop in a future video, which is the point of washing, in my opinion. Keeping it clean and making sure you can see what you're working on and having something clean to work on is very nice. With my history as an HD mechanic, it was a lot nicer to work on something clean than it was filthy. So it's something that I like to do and why this is important to me. One thing that I really need to improve is this part where I turn on the water. Oh, that's noises. I don't know what that was. Oh, what the? Oh, I didn't think. Yeah, you definitely have to make sure that something is hooked up or it'll just run through. Should I just leave this on from now on? I don't like having it loaded with water is the thing. I'm not 20 anymore. Not 40, but I'm not 20, you know? So right now the power washer's not on. We're just gonna run the hose basically, get some water in this bucket. And this will basically just be a rinse bucket. On the bottom of the bucket I have basically a, like a grate. So any sediment should technically settle below that. But at the end of the day, this is an ATV, so I'm not overly worried about it because I literally beat the crap out of it for a living. So this is just a matter of getting things clean. Anyone who knows me knows I like having my machines clean. So if for whatever reason I bring it into like Pete Sales and Service where I bought it, I only bring it in pristine. It's just a thing. I don't know. There's probably other people out there like me. I'm not a weirdo. I guess that's up to you though. This is going to be cold water. This is well water. So it comes out of the well at 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which I know I'm always making fun of Americans, but for whatever reason I measure water temperature in America. Yeah, I just know that our well water is 50 degrees. I don't go into a pool unless it's like 70. My sister keeps her pool at 80, which is basically a lukewarm hot tub. Ask me what that is in Celsius. I actually have no idea. Roll this bad boy out. Haven't quite figured out what tension I want to run this thing at. But basically you can set the tension on this reel. See if that's enough. Probably get this ready. Put some snow foam in the cannon, and I'll take my wand. We'll get that set up and then dial her in. What I really love about this setup is you can have a long wand, short, or you can hook up your foam cannon. It's all one setup. This is a Mosmatic gun. I've got the white tip. It's 45 degrees, 40 degrees. Normally you can't get them like this because the short actual gun here can be pointed at you. So be careful with this around kids. This isn't a ton of pressure, but some setups can have enough pressure to cause a problem. But this is pretty good. So what I'm thinking is I'll pre-soak, get the foam cannon ready, lay down the foam cannon, and then take the mid out. This is honestly kind of like the perfect day to do this too. It's pretty early in the morning. We've got overcast. It's like 12 degrees. Cool out. Later today is going to be like 26 or something and if the sun comes out, that makes washing pretty hard. That's pretty much it for that. Let's see what this snow foam says. So, according to the directions on the snow foam, we don't have to worry too much about mixing anything. It's pH neutral, it's safe for a lot of different things. It's saying that it wants 5 minutes of contact time while you agitate. So, this is going to go on pretty thick, I think. Now, what I'm filling is a huge bottle. I'm not going to need this for the machine whatsoever. Although I haven't quite figured out how to dial in the spray pattern and stuff on the foam cannon yet. These are both 1 liter containers, so this isn't surprising that it took a whole bottle. But I'll be able to do several vehicles with this amount, as long as I'm careful not to get, gun happy. I wonder if YouTube's going to give me a hard time about calling these guns. Pew-pews? Water pew-pews? Washing pew-pews? I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, but Griot actually brings, or ships with these like different orifices. So depending on maybe what flow, like what GPM you're using, that that might differ. This was actually set up to work with the Active 2.0 that I have. So that's in there. And then you can adjust your spray pattern. So we'll see how that goes. This might be, what is that, flow? Oh yeah, so this thing's tapped out right now, and we can reduce that. So I don't know how much I'm gonna spray out here. I don't think I need it on max, that's for sure. I guess we're gonna find out together, aren't we? Oh yeah, that's going on real well. Oh man, woo! What a frickin' setup. Holy moly. That's like shaving cream. And that 1 liter bottle, I don't know how much I use, but there's a ton left. I'll be washing lots of machines with that snow foam bottle. All right, I guess we better get to agitating. Okay. Get that dialed in. How clean does this need to be? I don't know. As long as it's easy, whatever the result is what we get. Now again, some of the things you're going to see me do is not what you want to do on a car. I'm noticing already that I may want to get the bigger version of this brush. I may need to dial in the water flow setting because the soap didn't stick as much as it should, and I'm pretty sure that's user error. Do I wash each tire like this? This brush is doing a good job. I can see all the dirt literally get pulled. And then that is why I have a mud and tire bucket versus a car paint bucket. Because if I get all this dirt onto paint and I scratch the crap out of it, all of my hard work really doesn't matter, does it? So I need to make sure I have very separate tools for the car, because normally you wouldn't take a tire brush like that and just go over whatever you want. Now if this were a sunny summer day, the soap would start drying and leaving all sorts of ugly spots. So you don't really want that to happen either. But that being said, on the ATVs, when this is dry, I'm going to take the muck off Silicon Shine or like an SC1 or something like that and polish it up. Pretty sure I had too much water flow, which made the soap runnier than it was supposed to be. But this is why we're kind of testing this stuff. So I wonder if that control on the top is to dial in how much water actually gets let through instead of soap. You know, like a ratio. It's so funny when I watch some of these tools get used on like a Porsche. And here I am, sorry, Porsche. And here I am using it on a quad. I can hear all the detail guys go, no, don't do that. I know, it's a quad, relax. You think my neighbors find it weird that I talk to myself? Probably. Oh, I'm already skipping steps. I'm all in a rush because I'm worried about stuff drying. Had a lot of people saying that 1,000 PSI is not enough. And I agree and I disagree. Yeah, see, I'm already short on soap here. So if you are riding in like the Carolinas and you've got some thick clay that you're dealing with all the time, 1,000 PSI would be tough to use. Where we are with swamps and stuff like that, well, we do have some clay areas like Johnstown. You know, it can get tough, but for most of this riding I do, like 80 to 90% of the riding I do, the way the mud works, 1,000 psi is more than enough. The flow I find to be way more important. Use different orifices. You can change that ratio and get more psi if you need it. That braking power. So if I need a little more pressure, I can get it. At the end of the day, I do have a gas power washer that I can break out if I have a tough job. So yeah, I agree with you guys that 1,000 psi in some scenarios probably isn't enough, or at least convenient. Do you guys know anything good to clean the aluminum on the block? I know there's lots of products, but what have you guys actually used on this? Yeah, I really didn't want to let all of that soap dry, so I'll figure out the gun. I'm going to try something else. And what we're going to do is then use the mitt like I initially planned. But because by the time I got to the 4th tire, it was already drying up. I need to figure out that flow ratio, but I can already tell that this lifted a lot of the dirt out of the scratches in the plastics without even me using a mitt, so that's nice. A lot of this dirt that I'm cleaning off is going to be hard to see on camera because cameras tend to make these machines look really good. So especially if you do any coloring to the video, I would say like a solid 80% is off, and I didn't even use the glove. So that's pretty impressive. Like I said, I did the bulk of the work in the last video getting the actual mud off. Yeah, this time around it was all the stains, like the hard part. So I'm going to figure out and try the snow foam again. Because I also realized I forgot to get a thumbnail. Got to get that thumbnail. And we're going to try and mess around with the ratios a little bit and figure it out. So we're going to see here. Yeah, that's like actual shaving cream. So if I go way less, that's kind of the same thing. So how does that work? Okay, so the pattern certainly changed things. That's easy. I'm not quite grasping. I mean, look at this stuff. It's fantastic. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't quite figure out the flow or the ratio, whatever this is controlling. I'm assuming it's like a ball valve inside there that you're actually adjusting or tightening in and out. So what that tells me is how much water I'm controlling per soap. And we've barely touched the soap at all. And this is the second go around at this quad, so. Maybe we do half the quad at a time. Maybe. You know what I mean? That could be the answer. I'm gonna get that cell phone shot for you. Am I blocking your view? Sorry. Get into those trouble spots. I've got stains all over this thing from different kinds of mud. The one near the key when I'm slapping around, it's doing wonders getting that off. Yeah, I think maybe half the quad at a time is the way to go. This may seem like a lot to some of you guys, but when you think about, I've only spent, you know, I'm probably gonna say 40 minutes, and that's mostly because of video work. Washing this thing, I'm feeling really good about this. If it wasn't for video, you can pretty much cut, 10 minutes, maybe more off that. I'm realizing I'm gonna have to be pretty quick. Watching other people's videos, it certainly seems like they had more time. So I'm wondering if it's the product. Is it the product? Or maybe my flow ratio is just weird. What I can tell you is that this is the easiest time I've ever had cleaning these bumpers. I'm hoping some of you guys have some ideas to help me out. Yeah, I feel real good about that. that sit for a bit. I'll start cleaning that up. I'm starting to get the idea here. I think I know what I need to do better next time. I can reduce a lot of waste by doing the tires first, which I don't know why I didn't do because I saw other people do it that way. Now I understand why. But yeah, this is really good. Okay. I like where this is going. Really enjoying this process. Now I know what to do for the second time, you know. I've been really happy with muck off in the past. And when this dries, I think I'll be reminded why. Because it did a really good job before. Forgot how much work we did to this thing. I mean, I know it's not like the most impressive Renegade build there is out there. There's lots of different Renegades, but there's a lot of little things that go into these, you know, when you're trying to get them dialed in. So I've certainly learned a lot here. One is making sure that the rolling bucket does in fact carry everything that I need to do the job. Because placing something away from the bucket or somewhere else, like maybe I bring a rolly table that has everything that I need, I don't know. But if I can just push one thing out of the garage that has everything that I need that I can go back and forth to, because you are swapping between tips and, you know, maybe you want the wand, maybe you want the foam cannon, you know, so there's a few things that I have to dial in that way. Second thing I learned, wash tires first, scrub all those down, then go to your wash. Because I basically snow foamed this twice while also simultaneously trying to figure out how to use it. And that wasted a good amount of soap. That being said, it barely takes any to do an ATV. Like if I dialed in this process, I'd probably wash this ATV like 10 to 12 times with that one liter bottle. Probably 10, you know. If you have a really nasty mud session, you'll probably go through that faster, but it worked really, really well. So I didn't even use my spot cleaner, which is the other stuff. So if I find something when this dries, because that's usually what happens, when this dries, you'll find somewhere you didn't touch. So that's where I'm gonna use the other cleaner for, so I can do little spots. So I'll clean that up. Otherwise, this went incredibly well. I'm going to be really curious to see how this dries. So the next step is basically, do I want to use like my leaf blower to dry this off, or do I commit a towel to this process? That's kind of the crappy thing about an overcast day when you would normally do this kind of thing, is it won't dry that quick. So I can certainly help it dry it off. And then the last step for me would be some muck off. And the reason why I like those silicone shines, one, makes your machine look great. Two, when you actually start going through mud holes on your next ride, it's significantly more resilient to having that stuff stick, especially into those scratches I was mentioning. The scratches on this machine is what actually holds the mud, especially the more used and older your machine gets. This one's still fairly new, but every time it goes out, it's quite the session. So certainly learned a lot. I think I am going to commit a towel, dry this up, and then we'll finish off with muck off. And then we'll talk about some of these tools and what I liked about them. So I just went around with a towel and helped it dry off some of the main bits. But I mean, this is literally as clean as it gets. I haven't even done the muck off yet, which really usually makes it pop. But, you know, like, look at these. That's freaking crazy clean. Pretty impressive. I thought I'd get right in there on the camera and so I can show you how well this worked. It even did remove a little bit of the discoloration in my aluminum block, which is notoriously, like, once these get hot and caked with mud, like, they never recover. At least not without serious aluminum cleaner. So the tires turned out perfect. You know, a little tire dressing, and that could really pop if you wanted to bring this to a show and shine or something. I am super happy with the way this turned out. So I'm gonna let this dry, put some silicone shine on, and basically that's it. I'm very impressed with this. And ultimately, no time investment compared to the way I used to do this. Everyone has a personal preference. I think I've definitely landed mine. It's just a matter of figuring out all the little steps now. I gotta change this so bad. All right, well, to wrap up today's video, I'm very pleased overall. It's exactly what I was hoping for. The machine looks incredible, and the effort level a little higher today because I had to figure some stuff out, but I know for a fact my second time when I go to wash this thing again, I know exactly what I'm doing now, and I'm very happy with that. And I'm sure some of you out there with a lot of washing experience, maybe some detailers, will tell me a few things that I could do better, and I always appreciate those comments. I never shy away from them, that's for sure. So we've got this dialed in. I've certainly learned a lot. We're going to put the tip back. I'm going to improve this every time. The first thing I know I need to improve is the delivery of the water. So right now, the spigot, which I think is the right word, is down there. And obviously, that's not very helpful or cohesive to the whole make things easier mentality. So, got to do something about that in the long term. There's a significant amount of tools that I liked. The tire brush, that's a win. Love this thing, perfect. There is a smaller version of this exact brush, and I may consider that one, but that one seems optional. When it comes to this brush, it did exactly what it was supposed to, but it turns out it's not big enough. I thought the smaller one would be good, but I'm learning now that you basically need to have both, or at least should have both if your goal is to do what I'm doing. So I'm probably going to order the bigger one as well at some point. We learned a lot about the process. We learned that this bucket or whatever rolling method I'm going out there with needs to have everything in one shot. Because when you roll this bucket, it seems convenient, but then when I grab this and I put it on the ground and I have nowhere to put it, it just defeats the entire purpose. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that to make it a little bit better. I'm thinking a rolling cart, like a really cheap Canadian Tire rolling cart. Put the bucket in that or on top of that with all of the accessories, and then you can just wheel out the driveway and do it like that. I think that might be the way to go. Otherwise, the system worked great. Really enjoyed. The flow and the pressure was more than enough throughout the entire process, but I do feel that if there was like heavy clay, that would be an issue. What we normally do that reduces a lot of the effort is we actually wash the quads in a puddle to get the bulk of the stuff and leave the mud where we found it, basically. So I've found that if you do that, that is the way to go to reduce a lot of work when you get home, especially because the mud's fresh on your ride. So if you can conveniently end your ride at a big puddle or lake or whatever, splash it all up and get that off, and then you're going to be in a lot better shape. So that's a little bit of tip there. Now that it's dry, I'm just going to put some silicone on the quad, and that'll really dial it in. This is stuff that I've used for years. This is the American can, so if you're looking for this in Canada, it's going to look slightly different. I think it's blue. I like these, and when I bulk order, I buy the American ones because I think they look cooler. I know. So that's good. I am noticing that I'm going to need at least 2 sets of each kind of towel. Because if I decide to wash something before I do a wash cycle, because I'm not just going to wash that towel on its own, I'm not going to be able to use the tools that I have. So I may need to double up on towels. Luckily, that's the cheap part. All good. Otherwise, this thing worked like a gem. So I would appreciate if you guys have any suggestions. I'm all ears. I'd love to hear it. I think the ATV looks amazing. I quickly rinsed off the side-by-side beside it as well, and it looks great, especially now that I know exactly what I'm doing. I think I know how to approach that. The side-by-side could have some changes just because you're also doing interior. I think I have all the tools that I need to wash off-road. I could definitely see some shortcomings if I wanted to wash a car to a pristine level. But like I said, I'm not an auto detail place. I just want to be able to quickly wash my machines. I want to wash my tractor annually. I want to wash my truck and stuff like that just to make it presentable when I can. If I can do that at home, I will. Because doing it at like a wand wash place, oh man, that adds up. $20, you never get the wash you're looking for, so I think this is the way I want to do it. When it comes to full detailing, I don't think I'll ever do that here, but I can vacuum stuff out, wipe things down, and do the exterior no problem as far as maintenance. So I think I've met the goal. I feel really good about this. I think in the future, when I get a lot of this stuff dialed in, I'm going to do wash and talks. So instead of just giving you an update face to camera, I can actually do something, talk about what's going on. I love that idea. I've seen it on other channels, and I'd like to introduce it here as well. So let me know what you think about that. But thank you guys for liking, watching, subscribing. Appreciate that. For our YouTube members, we always appreciate the extra effort and the support directly, so thank you so much. If you don't know what that is, check out the join button below. You'll see all sorts of options for basically the price of a Timmy's coffee to a McDonald's Big Mac, minus inflation. You can support us directly as creators. We also have a website, mainvilleatv.ca, which is in the description, and you can find our merchandise there. If you want a sweater or a shirt or hat, you can find some stuff there as well. You'll also find all of our sponsors, like the muck off here that we got at Royal Distributing. So you can see them down below, go to their links, or Garage Living, if you're interested in some of this slat wall and stuff like that. Our hoist is the Auto Loft, and we of course have Finntrail, which protects us gear-wise. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you guys next time.